So while we quickly settle into the year of 2022, there is a lot of exciting Nintendo Switch news to look forward to, and there's a couple brand new stories that we got to talk about today. The first of which has to do with Sonic Frontiers and a big delay that actually hit this game to make it release in 2022, as apparently the original plan was to put this game out on Sonic's 30th anniversary in 2021, and I want to walk through those details with you guys. Then the big talking point for today's video is Nintendo's track record at historically holding an early year Nintendo Direct, and I want to break down the history of when they've held these Directs and when we can expect the next Nintendo Direct to indeed take place and what games we can expect to see featured at this showcase. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we're covering a couple different stories today, and I want to kick it off with Sonic Frontiers, and the reason it is in the news because there's been some new interviews floating around online that actually suggest that Sega did indeed choose to push back this game almost a full year, or at least a full year, according to some recent interviews, and I do think that this is a very commendable thing that I like to cover here on the channel because, you know, if you've been around for a while, we do kind of call out the lazy developer practices and the rush jobs that we've seen over the course of time. Most notably and most recently, Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, was clearly a buggy mess when it released, and that is typically what people will ultimately remember that game as. And I love to see when a developer will actually take the time that is needed to fix a game and get it up to full quality before it reaches an audience. And so to kick off this conversation and give you guys the full details, I want to quickly hop over to Nintendo Life, where they do have an article transcribing a Q&A session that essentially shed the light that this game was indeed pushed back for a full year. So let's read through that together. Sonic Frontiers was originally planned for a 2021 release, but Sega wanted to brush up the quality. The team has high expectations for it. The Blue Blur celebrated his 30th birthday in 2021, but one thing fans missed out on was a brand new mainline entry. According to a Sega investor Q&A, which took place a week after the Game Awards and Sonic Frontiers reveal, the publisher actually had plans to release Sonic Team's new open zone game in 2021, but decided against it to brush up the quality of the project. Here's the scoop via Sonic Stadium. Originally, it was planned to be released on this year, the 30th anniversary of Sonic, but we have now postponed the release for a year in order to further brush up the quality. Not only for this title, but during the development phase, we have been steadily conducting analysis to improve the quality of the title before release, such as introducing game testing based on external evaluations, and we have a feeling that it will become a good game and have high expectations for it. In 2020, Sega's Aaron Weber mentioned how the company had changed its approach to the development of Sonic games. Back in the day, it used to be like every year there was a new Sonic game, and as a result of that, there were a number of times because of that rushed production schedule, the quality of the games wouldn't quite be where they really needed to be. A few years ago, we actually said, hey, that's going to change going forward. We're going to put probably more time into things as we go forward, and that's going to mean that you have to wait longer between trailers or announcements. And we know that's kind of annoying sometimes because you just really want news, but that's where we are now, and we think that the patience hopefully will be worth the wait in the end. So I personally am very excited for this game to come out later in 2022. It is heavily rumored and maybe even leaked that it will actually be out in the month of November, according to a post that recently was uncovered in the PlayStation Store database. So we have some time still to go until the Sonic game does hit our gaming consoles, but it's a very exciting prospect to think of an open zone, not necessarily open world, but open large level layout of a Sonic game. And I'm glad to hear that Sega is taking this one super seriously, and instead of rushing it out as part of the 30th anniversary celebration, giving it the full year of extra development time to fix things like bugs, and then of course add in more content, because I think the key to this game being successful is absolutely having a level packed full of different things to go do and experience, and they need to have a lot of side quests, a lot of different characters and NPCs that you can interact with, hopefully some kind of overall like level up system, and even new abilities that Sonic uncovers along the way. Maybe Super Sonic makes an appearance in this game if you're slowly collecting the gems as you go. Like, I would love to see this be the big return of a great Sonic game in the 3D era, and I know that the track record is not the best. I think that things like this actually give us a little bit more hope to maybe have a higher expectation for this game. That said, because of their overall track record, I am not like holding out the biggest hope. Like, this is nowhere near my Breath of the Wild 2 level hype, which I'm sure that game will blow us all away when it's finally released. But I am very excited at the prospect of this open zone Sonic, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below how you feel about Sega taking the extra year for development time, where your hype level sits for this game, and what you personally want to see from an open zone Sonic game, and whether or not you plan on picking this one up in release in the end of 2022 when we do see it hit retail shelves. So please share with me all your thoughts and feelings on all things Sonic Frontiers in the comments down below. Now, the big talking point for today's video is Nintendo and their direct schedule, and the reason we are talking about this now is because, of course, we are in the month of January in 2022, and Nintendo has historically held directs sometimes in January, sometimes in February, and sometimes in March, and I see a lot of people discuss and debate this online, thinking that Nintendo has a somewhat predictable track record for their first direct of the year, and the reality is they have chosen to hold it on different months over the course of time. So to start off this conversation, I want to read through a tweet that Stealth tweeted out over on Twitter that shows all of the exact dates that Nintendo has held this over the course of time, and that will kind of kick off our conversation on when I personally predict that this direct will take place, and kind of some speculation on what titles I think we may see featured at the next Nintendo Direct that we do know will be around the corner at some point. So let's quickly read through the history of Nintendo Directs in the month of January, February, March, and even sometimes April from this tweet together. So Stealth's tweet reads as follows: there's really no clear pattern indicating when the first major Nintendo Direct of 2022 will be. He then goes on to list the previous dates for the first major directs of the year: February 13th of 2014, April 1st of 2015, March 3rd of 2016, April 12th of 2017, March 8th of 2018, February 13th of 2019, March 26th of 2020, and February 17th of 2021. He then points out that it probably won't be in January, and then there were some comments correcting that. He says, appreciate everyone pointing out I missed that in 2015 the first major direct was in January. I missed it. Still, it hasn't exactly been a trend. So the reason I wanted to bring that up and point it out is because, again, I do see a lot of people in the comments and things that expect Nintendo to for sure hold a direct in January because historically they've done so. And if you actually look at the factual data and the dates, it is not a common thing for them to hold their first Nintendo Direct of the year in January. And I think my expectations are more shifting towards a mid-February date, as we have seen them do before. It could slide into March, but I wouldn't expect January, especially with the big release of Pokemon Legends Arceus that is right around the corner, that promises to be a bold new direction for a Pokemon game, and we're already seeing it with the different types of tactics you use to actually sneak up on Pokemon and utilize stealth tactics. And of course, you know, it's mainly action based in the overall environment, which of course is not what you typically expect from a Pokemon game. You normally just expect the turn-based RPG elements. So this game is very exciting. I think Nintendo is going to probably let the Pokemon Company maybe do some kind of big media blowout event, maybe another Pokemon Presents where they give us some more details, or they could just slowly trickle out overview trailers and drop the information that way. But regardless, I think that closes out January as the big feature for this month, and then I think things cool down a couple weeks after that, and we most likely get this next Nintendo Direct in February. Now then you might ask, what kind of games can we expect to be featured at this event? And keep in mind, this is purely speculation. This is just from me reading the news every day as far as Nintendo rumors, leaks, and all of the different journalists online that are saying that different things will or will not happen. There's really a lot of possibilities on this list, but some of the ones that I at least want to talk about and that I do feel are at least likely to happen, or at least they're in the realm of possibility of happening at this event, are the following games. And the first one I want to kick it off with is Metroid Prime 1 Remake, because if you guys aren't familiar, there has been a ton of rumor mill speculation talk from multiple different gaming journalists, insiders in the industry, suggesting originally that Retro Studios was developing Metroid Prime Trilogy HD on the Nintendo Switch, and then it came out that that was the assumption from insiders that had heard that they were working on a Metroid Prime Classic Trilogy, or classic game rather, in Retro Studios, that it actually wasn't Trilogy but instead a full dedicated remake to Metroid Prime 1. It is also the 20th year anniversary, believe it or not, for Metroid Prime, and I think that Nintendo treats Metroid seriously now. They even won, of course, the best action adventure game of the year at the Game Awards, and Metroid Metroid Dread is selling very well in terms of what we've seen historically over the course of time with this franchise, and I think that Nintendo will want to capitalize on some of that momentum and maybe bring in some of the audience that just dismissed Metroid Dread because it is a 2D or 2.5D game that doesn't always attract the same audience as a big AAA full-on 3D game. And I think the perfect way to do that is after 20 years has passed by to expose the fans to the remakes of these games. And I personally am holding out hope that we get Metroid Prime 1 featured at this next Direct, and I really hope that Nintendo takes the time to develop 2 and 3 and port it over to the Switch as well, or remastered on the Switch rather, and I will happily pay $60 a piece for these games all over again. Hopefully they do some quality of life adjustments. I'm sure they will if these are true up remakes or remasters, so I am very excited for these games, and I definitely think that there's a strong possibility that at the next Nintendo Direct we do see an announcement of some sort when it comes to Metroid Prime Remake. And I would say I would not expect any news whatsoever around Metroid Prime 4. The soonest I think we can maybe get just a teaser trailer of what the world looks like, or just a quick cutscene of Samus, like anything like that at all. I think the soonest we get any information would at the bare minimum be at E3, but I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes far past E3 when we get any kind of information on this game. At this point, Metroid Prime 4 could very well be something that is lining up to launch with a more powerful Switch revision down the line in 2023 or something like that. And I think that these Prime 1 through 3 remakes probably take place in the interim to keep us Metroid fans plugged in. Now, next up, a very likely one that I could see being at an early Direct in the year of 2022, maybe it's an E3 game, but maybe it's not, is the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that, of course, you've probably seen heavily rumored online, and that is originally from a voice actress that works for the game that's been in previous titles saying that it is real and that it's pretty far along. Then there was another gaming website, or gaming news website rather, that backed that up and went on to say that this game is almost done and it was actually originally planned for 2021 but got pushed to 2022. So that could be a perfect surprise game that is almost ready to go that we get some kind of announcement of. We then, of course, have the endless rumors and speculation around Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD coming to the Switch at some point in the future, and while that did not happen as part of the Zelda 35th anniversary like a lot of us Zelda fans were expecting, I do think that it's going to be smart for Nintendo to port these over at some point in the future, and I am leaning towards, because it's not part of the anniversary, that these will ultimately come as individual releases if we do see them at all. I think you're going to buy Wind Waker HD at $60 on the Switch, and I think you're going to buy Twilight Princess HD at $60 on the Switch. I also don't think they come over at the same time because Nintendo will want to sell them individually and give Zelda fans a chance to buy them separately at full price. Of course, I could be wrong about this stuff, and maybe we never see them come over whatsoever, but I'm still holding out hope that one day we will get that Wind Waker intro trailer and it says that HD is coming to the Switch, because I think Nintendo has an easy port on their hands that they can easily make some revenue for. But then you have to have the conversation that we know Breath of the Wild 2 is a 2022 game, and I don't think Nintendo floods the market with a bunch of different Zelda titles. So my expectations are relatively low when it comes to any kind of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD announcement, but I'm still hopeful that eventually we will see them acknowledged. I also, to quickly keep it in the realm of Zelda, don't really expect Breath of the Wild 2 information to be at this next Direct. I personally think that the E3 event will be where Nintendo does their blowout event that actually talks about gameplay, shows us the title reveal, does some treehouse footage where people are playing through the game live and answering questions, and then we get that big release date that is in the back half of 2022. That is, if I'm a betting man, that's what I'm going to say is going to be the case for Breath of the Wild 2. Now, there's also been a lot of talk and rumor mill speculation that some kind of Fire Emblem remake or reboot or something in the world of Fire Emblem is coming. That could totally be the case. I am not personally super invested into the Fire Emblem series, but I do own 3 houses, have not played it yet, and fully intend to play it when I can get caught up on my backlog of games, because I have heard great things from the fans in the comments and different things, reading people opinions of the game online, and all things point to it being a great experience. So I do hope that we get something Fire Emblem related at a Direct in the upcoming future. And then I think a very safe bet is the exact release date for Kirby the Forgotten Land, which of course we know to be probably a early or somewhat early into spring game. So that's going to be an exciting one to probably get an overview trailer. And then one that I would say is less likely, but that I really want to see featured at the Direct, is whatever this new Donkey Kong project that is going on behind the closed doors that we've seen, numerous rumors and leaks suggesting this game is in development. It's going in a different direction from the typical Donkey Kong Country lines of games. So So I'd be very curious to see what Nintendo has in store for us as far as DK goes, but I could also see that being more of an E3 type of title where a big reveal for a brand new Donkey Kong game drops at E3 as opposed to a beginning of the year event. But at this point in the video, guys, I want to hear from you on all your personal thoughts and speculation. What do you think we're seeing at the next Nintendo Direct? When do you think it's going to actually take place personally, in your opinion? And what's your level of hype going into this event? Do you think we're going to get a lot of major announcements? Do you think it'll be really just overviews of things we already know that are coming in the pipeline anyway? I do look forward to hearing from you on all your thoughts and feelings on all things Nintendo Direct in the comments down below, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.